Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live stream Tuesday. I hope you guys have had a good start to your week and that your weekend was good as well. And that was a bit of an abrupt hello after the Don't Cry fade out that we just had. So I can see you guys in the live chat room already, so hello to all of you guys there. And I can see an advert trying to get involved, so I'll just cancel that. And that has now been skipped, which is good. So let me give you guys an immediate shout out in the live chat room. We have in there Lucy, Laurie, Kevin, Emily, Cindy, Angela, Glory, Howard is going through too quickly, but I saw Susie Q in there as well. And Billy's in there, and Kevin, and Christian, and Dwayne, and Rose and Bob and Bang Bang Drummer. So yes, hello to all of you guys in the live chat room tonight. Let me get the names of my patrons up on screen because they make this all possible in the first place. And you guys know who you are. Their names go across the bottom of the live streams throughout the Tuesday live streams and Saturday live streams. And those are the 2 days that we do live streams. So they are always there because they make everything that I do possible. So yeah, thank you guys for all of your support over there on patreon.com/Wings of Pegasus. And if you want to get involved yourselves, you can head over there and you can just join up with a free account. It doesn't cost anything. So yeah, thank you to everyone getting involved over there. And just on the Patreon updates that I try to do on a Monday and a Thursday, but things have been so busy recently that I've just been answering messages and answering emails, and I'm still not quite up to date yet with my emails. So I'm just trying to get through everything, and then obviously taking time to kind of write an update is just something that's fallen by the wayside. But as I've said before, for you guys wanting to catch up with what's going on, then the live streams are a good place to do that. So yeah, Tuesdays and Saturdays for all your latest Wings of Pegasus news to see what's going on. But I can see already there have been some donations, so thank you guys for those. And yeah, you don't have to donate. Just watching is great, but we haven't yet got the likes goal up on screen because we are going to be aiming tonight for 420. Does that say? It's a bit small on my screen, but 420, that's what I'm going to say is the target for tonight. And it means that if we do hit that target, we're going to have Phil Jam number 274, which is correct. So yeah, if you could hit that thumbs up as you come through the door, that would be very much appreciated. And I'll remember just to get the like-ometer up on screen as well to see that we are at 197 so far, which means we're looking for 221. So that was some easy maths there. When we start, it's always good to get the maths out of the way. So almost at 200, and there we go. We just flipped over to 201. So thank you guys for hitting the thumbs up so far and for coming through. So, David says, Phil, since your ears are trained on auto-tune and pitch correction, when you hit a song, it's gone through the top of the screen. But let me see if I can scroll down. When you hear a song or performance live, can you pick that out right away? So thank you for that question in the live chat room. It depends on the sound generally. Like the last show that I went to was with Jeff Scott Soto, and we were watching a few bands, and it was a Lita Ford show, but there were support bands on there as well. And I wear earplugs, so it means that I can hear the performance more clearly. And I mean, both Jeff and I spotted where backing vocals were pre-recorded backing vocals and not live. So we could tell that some elements that we were hearing weren't the band doing it. And it wasn't because they weren't singing and we heard them. They were still pretending to sing it, but we knew that it was on the backing track. Because we both just kind of looked at each other. And Jeff said, canned backing vocals, and I just nodded to say that those aren't live. But in terms of auto-tune, I think if you can hear it clearly, if you have got earplugs in, it means it cuts out a lot. I was going to say a lot of the noise, but a lot of the top end, high end frequencies that do. They limit your ability to hear things clearly, so you can't really accurately plot pitch in your mind if that's what you're trying to do. And I mean, the best test for this, if you are at a show and it is very loud, just put your fingers in your ears, and then more often than not you'll now be able to hear the singer, whereas then you take your fingers out of your ears and all of that top end frequency gets in the way of your ear being able to distinguish, what is what and where the pitch is. So yeah, because I wear earplugs, it means that I can hear things relatively clearly. And yeah, if somebody's using auto-tune live, then yeah, I think I can spot it straight away. There's a band that I was playing with, they were on the same bill as me for one particular show, and their singer was using auto-tune. And yeah, something that I noticed straight away, but my bandmates noticed straight away as well, that there's such a, I mean, this is many years ago, so it's even more obvious. But yeah, it's just A440 just hits my ear, and it just, I don't know what it is about A440 that just feels like it's wrong. Because technically it is wrong. It shouldn't actually be at that pitch. It should be ever so slightly, sharp or flat, depending on, which note is being sung and what the key is. But just the way that sound works and the way that frequencies just run through the air, the sound waves and frequencies and things that are part of the natural world, the way that sound works, it doesn't conform to A440. So as soon as you do conform something to A440, that's when it starts to sound like, it does sound calibrated, it does sound a little bit weird, it doesn't sound natural, because it isn't natural. But anyway, thank you for that question just in the live chat room, as I happen to look over there. And let me get the donations tab up on screen, because as I said at the beginning of the live stream, you don't have to donate, just watching is great. So I know that there have been donations already, but I think it's important for those people that have donated that they know between 45 and 60% goes to YouTube through the super chat window, and between 3 and 5% goes to PayPal through the PayPal link, which you can find in the description below. So I'll just quickly, Melody Rock says, why did it change to 440 hertz? So in the late 1950s, it just became standard 440 hertz as to what now everybody tuned to. But I mean, even at that time, that there was still different tuning systems going on. That some would have been, tuning to 436 hertz, and that means that they're all tuning to an A. So 440 hertz is actually called A440. So the A literally stands for A, the note A. So your A4 has to be A440 hertz. So that's like the fundamental note that then everything else is based off, or based from for the tuning. So when you've got your A at 440 hertz, let's say that 440 hertz is here now, and everything else is tuned to that, in relation to that. So when we're talking about A440, it means that 100 cents above that is a semitone above, and 100 cents below that is a semitone below. It just reminded me of a question that somebody said, is it 100 cents between a semitone or a tone? And it's 100 cents between each note. It doesn't matter about a tone or a semitone, the next note, so every semitone is going to be 100 cents apart. So that's now standardized, so now every note is the same distance apart. It's not exactly how sound works, but it's a convenient system. So our ears have kind of got used to it, but still not really, and that's why tuning the voice stands out so much. But every note is now tuned in relation to A440 and that particular frequency. Now, if you imagine that we're tuning to A436, and 436 hertz is lower. I mean, it's a lower number than 440. Like, if you want to get really basic with it, a lower number, it means that it's a lower pitch. Obviously, I don't want to get too detailed with this, but when we're talking about frequencies, the higher the number, the higher the pitch. To, where, if we're going really high up, with the test that we did on the channel recently, where I was showing you the measurement of, where we were going with the sound and the frequency, and from memory, I can't remember, was it maybe 13,000 or something like that, where my ears then kind of dropped out, and I couldn't hear above that particular frequency. So when we're talking about A440 and 440 hertz, when we start thinking about really high frequencies such as 13,000, rather than just 440, which is the A4 on a piano, everyone will be able to hear that because it's low down. When we start getting up to the thousands and the tens of thousands, and especially kind of up towards 20,000, that's too high for most humans to be able to hear. And it means that if you imagine like a sound wave, the higher you go, the more packed in they are, therefore the more waves you get. So this is why 436 hertz has less waves than 440 hertz. So it means that the more waves you get, the higher the pitch of what you're hearing. The less waves you get, the lower the pitch. So it means that if you keep going down into like the bass range, for example, if you have a mixed bass guitar, you might find that you're trying to get the bass to pop through the mix a little bit better, so you might start boosting in and around 120 hertz, 150 hertz, because that's a lower note. So the lower amount, the number frequency 150 hertz, is a lower note than 440. And if you keep on going up and up and up, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, we're now going up in pitch. But anyway, getting a bit sidetracked here. So A440 became the standard. And just to explain about the tuning, if we're all now tuning to A436, it means that now we're tuning to something that is flat. So you might have had back in the day, and this actually happened quite a lot, where bands might be in the studio and they're tuning to each other, not knowing that they're actually tuning at what would have been maybe 436 hertz, or even like 432. They might have been really flat. So then when you try and play along with the band, it doesn't fit because you're tuned to A440, and you can never quite find that space or that place, because there's space in between the tunings, because the recording isn't exact. And that's what happened where really old songs, when they've been converted to digital, it all depends on the speed of the turntable. Like if you're talking about vinyls, where the faster it goes, the higher the pitch is going to be. So this is why, and the slower it goes, the slower the pitch is. So if you've got a turntable that's running a little bit slow or a little bit fast, it means that it's not going to be a true representation of the instruments in the studio, which they might have tuned to A440. But now it might come across as A40 or A444 or 446, because it sounds sharp because the turntable is going too quickly. But anyway, it's it can get quite complicated. But getting back to the initial question and giving a very simple answer, in the late 1950s it was standardized as A440 because the USA and the UK, and actually quite a lot of Europe, were tuning to that. And it was just decided that, because we want everything to be standardized, and for orchestras to be able to play with each other and not have to find out which tuning are they going to be using, because if we tune to a different a different frequency, then that means that they're going to be out of tune with each other. So there had to be some kind of standardization going on, and that was decided in the late 1950s. But that's not to say that there weren't orchestras and songs that were, sometimes, like I've already mentioned, accidentally tuned incorrectly, but yeah, they might have been tuning to different frequencies for their own personal taste, as artists, as bands, or even as an orchestra or a conductor. You might have a particular frequency that they like to tune to. So yeah, but that was it. In late 1950s, A440 became the standard. So anyway, let's move on. I've got to get through some of these donations, so thank you guys for these. We'll jump into the super chat window because Valhalla's donated £10, so thank you for that, and that's a straight up donation. Karen's donated $5, thank you for that, Karen. The message is Don't Cry from a Real Relationship or Totally Random, such a beautiful song. So thank you for that. And no, it is just a random thing. Really, just it's not in a personal relationship, but thank you for that, Karen. Sue's donated $9.99. Thank you for that, Sue. And the message is, where are our ghost likes, spikers? Let's get on it for a Phil Jam. So thank you for that. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that likeometer, 265 so far. So not too bad of a start, but it is 23 minutes past 23 hours, 23 as it looks on the clock I can see, but then I can just see on the live stream it says 11:23. So yeah, rather than the 24-hour clock, 23 minutes past 11 at night it is here, just in case you haven't watched a live stream before. Oh, it says PM after. Anyway, so there's no confusion. Right, so thank you for that, Sue. Daisy's donated $10. Thank you for that, Daisy. And the messages: I bought an antique German zither at an estate sale. In the red velvet box, there is a tuning fork in it that has stamped on the side A435. So there you go. Very much proving the point that all kinds of tunings have been around, and I guess this is exactly why it was then standardized to A440, because you'll have people tuning, to a tuning fork, which is, resonating at 435 hertz, and everyone's tuning their A to 435 hertz. So that means it's a lower number, therefore the notes are going to be lower. It's going to sound flat. But take away A440 and it sounds fine by itself. It's just when you then put two different tuning systems next to each other, that's where it starts to sound wrong. And, by the way, it's something that recently we've looked at on the channel, where there have been releases of, or should I say re-releases, of very well-known songs and very well-known bands, such as the Beatles, for example, where the engineers who have been pitch correcting voices, they don't realise that it's not the voice that's out of tune or off key, it's the instrumentation that is ever so slightly flat. So it's like the vocal might be at A440 and the instrumentation is at A435, taking the example that Daisy's given there. So it will sound like the vocal is always sharp, because that's at A440, the instrumentation's at A435. So all they needed to do was either bring up the instrumentation or bring down the vocal. And I would always err on the side of leaving a vocal untouched, because to me that is really the focus of what people are listening to and the message of the song and how they're receiving that. But yeah, it depends what the backing's like. You might even want to meet halfway so that you bring down the vocal a little bit and bring up, maybe tune it all to 438 hertz, so that it's not noticeable either way. But I still think that nowadays you can bring that instrumentation up to where the vocal is. But anyway, yeah, what they've done is they've then pitch corrected or incorrected the vocal, thinking that it was all out of tune, but it wasn't. It was tuned and sounds fine when you listen to it in isolation, as does the backing, but when you hear those two things together, they clash because the tunings are off. You just need to calibrate those two tunings, and then it's fine, and you don't have to edit the vocal at all. But of course, they've moved it up, moved it down, moved this particular word up, and totally kind of gone a bit overkill with it. But it's because they don't understand what's happening. And I know people will say, how can people who are re-releasing Beatles tracks and remastering them, remixing them and re-releasing them not know what is going on and what's actually happening? And I don't have an answer for that. I don't know how they don't know that, but we just have to unfortunately point out these things, and maybe people will start to realize, oh, I shouldn't have edited that vocal, because now they might realize that it was actually fine and it was just the instrumentation that was the problem. But anyway, so thank you for that, Daisy. And Paul's donated $5 as well. Thank you for that, Paul. The message is, please spike the likes, all y'all. Peace, love, and rock. So thank you for that, Paul. We're going to be jumping over into the PayPal window. And I just want to make sure I don't miss any. It's John who's donated £5. So thank you for this, John. And it's a straight up donation. And Bryony's donated £5 as well. And that's a straight up donation. Thank you for that, Bryony. And then Cindy's donated £30. So thank you for that, Cindy. And is there a message here? There is. Hi, Phil. I have never seen anything like the Journey video you did on Sunday, but I don't understand why the band seems so unbothered by what's happening. Someone on YouTube suggested that their in-ear audio feed may not have the auto-tune on. Would that make sense? Would their in-ear monitors still be on at the end of the show? Thanks. Right, so, yeah, in that particular video, I didn't really explain on a couple of things. First of all, I didn't really explain how this can happen. And it's not really a band issue. And it's not really something that you can blame the band or the singer, Arnell himself. Yeah, you can't really blame him for it because it's the front of house, the people that are mixing the sound, or even just having one sound guy. They might have more than one sound guy, but you'll have a sound guy who is responsible for the front of house, the sound coming out to the audience. So with the sound that's coming out to the audience, that is something that when you're in the band, you're not going to be getting that same sound because you have your own personal mix and your in-ear monitoring system as to what you want to hear. And with the vocals, for example, I can imagine that Arnell, even though he'd know that auto-tune was in use, he'd probably say, well, I don't want to have that in my ears because it will be off-putting, because it's taking your voice to somewhere that you're not actually singing. So that would be really weird to hear a sound that isn't your voice. And unfortunately, that's what auto-tune is. And I know that some people, again, don't understand about, in the comments section, don't understand about effects and how, auto-tune is a pre-signal effect. It's changing what is being heard before you get a chance to hear it. It's already changed that signal. So this is why, if you're singing and you're hearing your voice that's edited in your ears, that's why it's going to be so off-putting, because your voice is going to be doing things that you're not doing. And that's just going to totally mess up everything. So, because then you'll start probably sounding a bit like the end of that show where, they were talking and it was left on and the vocals being snapped here, there and everywhere. So, the band, aren't really to blame for it. It's just the sound guys that haven't, I don't know what they're doing, what they're listening to. Or maybe, it might have been the case that, because it's the end of the show, that, I don't know, the sound guy or sound guys might have just thought, oh, it's the end of the show, and just, maybe they've left early. Or certainly they're not really concentrating. Because that's the kind of thing that you should pick up on immediately when you can hear that there's still auto-tune on that mic. And another comment somebody asked me saying, Yes, but have you got any audio from the show? And I'm just going to skip this advert. The audio from the video that I did, I always leave links in the description of every video so that everybody can cross-reference them. So those were from full shows. So you can hear the auto-tune throughout the whole show, but then it's left on at the end as well. So that's where obviously it becomes really obvious. But if I were to do an analysis video on the show, then you would see it being auto-tuned and would hear it being auto-tuned. Because, yeah, there are going to be flips happening here or there, because that's just something that happens with auto-tune live. But, yeah, we don't really have to do any of that because of the the fact that it's been left on at the end of the show. So yeah, with that particular, I mean, it was entertaining, but I know that some people are now thinking, well, I mean, who else is using auto-tune, or is it just something that now everyone's jumping on board with, regardless of their background, or like being a legacy band or legacy artist like I mentioned in that video? And yeah, I mean, it is all getting a bit weird with everything going on, and I'm going to be doing a video soon as well about, again, another legacy performer who's really well known. And before this particular performance, he's saying about how nowadays, technology is just taking over and everything. Music is just made in computers and everything's too perfect. And, he actually said a human performance is never perfect. And then it goes into the performance. And guess what? The vocals are tuned. And this kind of blows my mind. Because I think, well, does this person actually know what's going on? Because it unfortunately it makes him look a bit silly, because he has this view of, oh yeah, I'm totally against all of the tuning, make it all too perfect. It's all about the humanity and being real. And then the performance that he does after that is then heavily edited. So yeah, I don't know whether people, when they listen to their performances back, I can hear A440. I know when it's been tuned instantly. And maybe singers can't tell that that's not their voice. Maybe they thought that they just happened to sing perfectly to A440, and they can't hear that their vocal is so manipulated. In this particular case, it is crazy the amount that it has been tuned. So yeah, that'll be a video coming up on the channel. But yeah, it does seem to be that we're now on this trend of everyone jumping on this bandwagon, even for live performances. We're now tuning your vocals and using auto-tune live, so not really having the confidence to hit the notes yourself accurately, but relying on technology to kind of help you there and take you to those notes. But the problem with that is it might do a flip on you, and then everyone knows that, oh well, we're not actually hearing your voice. So yeah, anyway, so yeah, in that case, it's all to do with the front of house, the sound guy or guys who just aren't paying attention and haven't heard it. And it's the kind of thing that I would expect on that kind of show. As soon as Arnell starts talking, like, I'd be able to spot straight away that, oh, the auto-tune's on, so then you make sure that it's taken off. But yeah, for some reason, I mean, they just let it go on and on and on, and that's why we heard all of that craziness and quite entertaining stuff. And I can even remember the melodies, because that's how stupid it was. Because introducing the band, Arno says, "There's Neil Sean." I remember the melodies that the auto-tune is using. And snapping Arnell's voice too. And there's another one that went, ha, ha. Yeah, he takes it down. You'll have to, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you'll have to watch my last video, because auto-tune was tuning the talking voices at the end of the show. Yeah, it's all a little bit crazy, but crazy and quite funny, but yeah, a bit of a shame that auto-tune is in use for what I would consider like a rock band, and being rock and roll. I think personally, auto-tune isn't rock and roll, because it's like being too worried about missing notes. Whereas, yeah, you should just kind of go for it. But anyway, yeah, thank you for that, Cindy. And Nicole has donated £20. Thank you for that, Nicole. And the message is, hi, Phil. A man on hunger strike against AI. Did you know that? Rock. So thank you for that, Nicole. If somebody is on hunger strike against AI, then, I mean, that's going to be never ending, that particular strike. Well, obviously it's going to end at some point. If you don't eat, then you do die. So hopefully he will eat it, or he or she will eat at some point. I don't know. Oh, it did say a man on hunger strike. I was going to say, I don't know why I assumed that it would just be a man who's decided to do it, to go on hunger strike, because, yeah, it's going to be a very, very long strike with AI. And the problem with AI is, on a day-to-day basis, I don't see anything that's now trying to get control of it. It's all going the other way, where everyone and governments are just saying, look everyone, just go for it. And, you know, seeing videos on, you know, just ridiculous videos of like Michael Jackson at KFC or something stupid, you know, all of these different things and different songs that are being created that were songs previously, but then, you know, worked into a different genre. And yeah, it just seems like that's all fine, and just, you know, go for it, do whatever you want to do with AI. Yeah, the other thing, I'm still getting emails from people that are saying about using AI, and this one person wrote me a really long email saying about what they do and how they make a song, and that my view of it is incorrect. And they were saying that, yeah, it's a lot of work, and what they are doing is writing songs, and it's exactly the same thing. So they said that the lyrics, for example, take maybe 40 times to get right. And I mean, I did respond to the email and said, right, well, the things in that case, the first thing I don't understand is, if you're writing lyrics yourself, you know what the lyrics are. So why don't you just write them down? Because why do you need to do it 40 times over to then get the lyrics that you want? Because you already know the lyrics. So I didn't really understand that. And then the person said, and it can take between 60 and 100 iterations for the song to sound how you want it to sound. And again, I thought, you know, I said to the person, it sounds like you're waiting to hear something that you like, and it takes maybe 60 to 100 goes or iterations for it to come up with something that you then think, oh yeah, that sounds good. But when you're writing a song, you already know what you want to do, and you already know how it sounds. So you record it. And yeah, so I kind of explained all this, and then the person did reply just in a single line, just saying, oh, I don't think you're open to really understand, you know, or debate or discuss what the process is. So I said, and then I replied saying, I am open to it. I might need to see somebody do this in order to show how what they are making with AI is totally original and totally unique. And I didn't get a reply after that. So I don't know, I feel like it, because I'm saying that when you write a song, you've written the lyrics and you know everything, you've written all the guitar parts on your guitar, you've written all of the vocals, the harmony vocals, and then you record it all. And in my particular case, you know, I've done it all, like self-produced my whole album. So, and I've written the songs, so I know exactly how they go. I know exactly what the melodies are going to be before, you know, I release it, because I've recorded it. So I kind of get the impression that, I mean, when I did say to this person that maybe you can show me the process of how you go from your demo to then the final song. And I think the problem is that the demo that somebody might come up with, like a rough idea of the song, if they're even doing that, I'm assuming that they've got a demo that they know how the song goes, and they've got it all roughly planned out. So it doesn't have to sound amazing, but you've got your song, and then you go to record it properly. So then I guess the problem might be is when they come to record it properly, if you're using AI might change some things or give you some things that you haven't originally written, in which case that's not your work anymore. If the riff is, you know, maybe 2 or 3 notes that are different, are people then saying, oh, yeah, but I don't want that? Or do they say, oh, well, I quite like the sound of that riff because it sounds better than my one, so I'm going to use the AI riff? I think that's potentially what I see can be the problem, is that somebody will like the sound of something else they're given more than what they've written, so then they'll just take that. But, once you get into that, then you say, well, that's not your original composition. That's not what you wrote. But also that's like saying, oh, I like that song, so I'm going to say it's mine. It's like, well, that's not you writing the song. But anyway, yeah, maybe somebody can make a video of going through making an original song with showing the original demo and how everything is and exactly how it sounds, all the guitar parts, vocals, harmonies, and then how that's then imported into AI, and then AI makes it again, but just getting it to sound a bit better, I guess. So yeah, anyway, I don't know where we go with the whole AI thing. I mean, the thing is, if there's anything that's different, then I don't know, personally, I think, well, it's not something that you've written, you're listening to it, and even if the vocalist does a different vocal line and somebody might think, oh yeah, no, I like that better than the vocal line that I came up with, you think, yeah, but you're just listening to something you like now. It's not you creating something. It's not you being artistic. It's not your artistic vision, because you're listening to something else that's giving you AI's artistic vision, and you're saying, oh, I like that, so now I'm going to claim ownership of that. So yeah, it's very, I don't know, for me it's very clear as to what is something you create yourself and then something that you listen to and you like the sound of. So anyway, yeah, thank you for that, Nicole. And Sue's donated £20, and Sue says, just a quick note to say thanks. So thank you to you as well. And Deborah's donated £5, and that's a straight up donation, so thank you for that. And Karen's donated £4.28, so thank you for that. And the message is, hi Phil, I'm curious, do you snore and or talk in your sleep? I'm picturing that, if so, you sound like snore, auto-tune snore, A440 snore, oh my sensitive ears. Thanks for tolerating my joke, Karen. So thank you for that. And I don't think I snore, so yeah, that's another thing that I guess other people will have to tell you. It's very difficult for you to know if you snore when you're asleep. But I think generally throughout my life I haven't had a problem with snoring. Do I talk in my sleep? I don't know if I talk in my sleep, but my best sleepwalking story ever was when I was maybe 11 years old, maybe 12. But I might have been a bit older than that, maybe 13, because I was exercising, because I kind of got into fitness very young. So I was about 13 years of age, and the only time that I could fit in exercise was before bed. So I would, do my workout and then, wash my face, brush my teeth, go to bed. But the problem with that is that it means that you've got your adrenaline running through your system because of, the fact that I've just been, lifting really heavy dumbbells and doing crunches and, press ups and all this kind of stuff. So when I went to bed, it means that my energy levels were really high. So when I was then sleeping and I was dreaming, I was having some dreams that were kind of quite high intensity. And in this particular dream, I dreamt that I was in a game of musical chairs. And I don't know whether you know what musical chairs is, but it's where lots of people are, say 10 people are around 9 chairs. And when the music stops, everyone has to sit on a chair. Obviously, one person's going to miss out. So it's like a bit of a race to sit down. So I was having this dream, and I was doing quite well in this musical chairs, to the point where there was only one chair left and there's just 2 of us. And then the music stopped and I jumped onto the chair. Now, but what I didn't realize is that I jumped in real life, like in my sleep. So I stood up on my bed and I jumped. And in my bedroom my bedroom had a 6-foot snooker table in it, but my bedroom wasn't really big enough to have a 6-foot snooker table in it. So it means that the edge of the table was quite close to my bed, about, I don't know, 3 feet away. So it meant that in my sleep, I was standing on my bed and I jumped forwards and I hit my face on the side of the snooker table, but I just woke up on the floor, not knowing what had happened. And because of the noise, my mum and dad came running in to say, what the hell was that? Because of the sound of somebody launching themselves in the dead of night. So yeah, that's my best sleepwalking story. Oh, and I think I used to get out of bed and start running, kind of along, maybe to the stairs, maybe running down the stairs. But anyway, this is all brought about from me working out before bed, and just I think it happened a few times. So we went to a doctor and they said, what do you do? What do you do to relax between, having dinner and then relaxing before going to bed to wind down? And I said, well, I work out, so I wind up. And they said, well, that's probably the problem. So yeah, once I stopped working out just before bed, then everything was fine. So there you go. There's a crazy story, launching myself in my sleep into my snooker table. And the good thing is, I say the good thing is that I didn't really have any injuries. And I think it's just that when you're asleep, you're in a relaxed state, so you're not tense. So I just kind of smacked, I guess my body just kind of flung around after smacking into the side of the table, and then just woke up on the floor. And I was all right. I think maybe I had a bit of whiplash in my neck from when I might have hit my chin on it and pushed my head back. But pretty much it was all right. So there you go. Thank you for that, Karen. Very long story there. But Connie's donated £15 as well. So thank you for that. And the message is, hi, Phil. Will you be surprised if an AI song wins a major award in the near future? Connie, so thank you for that. And no, I won't be, because I know that somebody sent me the results of a songwriting competition, and the song that was in second place was written by AI, even though, and this is why they're contacting me, because the rules state that you can't use AI, but it's been found out that this particular entry into a songwriting contest was AI, and it finished second. So there you go. But that's what I mean. The more things I get sent, the more I realise that AI is so far gone now that with this question that Connie asks, would you be surprised if an AI song wins a major award in the near future? It's already happened. There's already been a case where I'd have to look into or try and remember what the songwriting competition was. But this is it, that all of the things that you think might happen in the future have most likely already happened with AI. Because, we're so far behind the curve, it is crazy. But thank you for that, Connie. And Karen's donated $10, so thank you for that in the super chat window. And the message is, I saw Journey, The Cars, Thin Lizzy, and the Marshall Tucker Band before auto-tune, pitch correction, etc. existed. And it was sad to see the Journey video. I saw Steve Perry, but had also liked Arnell. So thank you for that, Karen. And Malteser has donated $9.99. So thank you for that. And the message is, good evening, Phil. Your hair was black in the old videos, but is brown in the recent ones. Did you use a different light in the room? So, yeah, if you look back at older videos, there are two things going on here. One of them was literally that my hair was black because I used this shampoo called Just for Men, and it was supposed to change your hair gradually. Like if you're getting grey hairs, it then starts to get rid of them, or at least that's what it said, that you're supposed to be getting rid of grey hairs. So anyway, I used this stuff, but I wasn't really aware, because back then I can't remember having problems with grey hairs. So it was stuff that did that, but I was using it and it turned my hair black. not like jet black, because I realised what was going on. I was looking in the videos thinking, hang on, that can't just be the camera. And yeah, this is the other side of it, is that the other camera that I had, the contrast, it made blacks really black. So like behind me on the wall, you can see that this is like a light grey colour, but that was like jet black with this other camera. So it means it made my hair look darker as well. So yeah, this is my normal, and I think you can kind of see that the lighter bits. This is my normal hair that I get, and whether they're lighter bits or whether they're grey bits, I won't say. But yeah, this is, I would say, my natural colour. And the black hair, I mean, that was just something that I had to just wait. But I don't know, it might have been a couple of years ago now, maybe a bit longer. So it means that my hair's had a chance to kind of grow all the way out and kind of get rid of that stuff. But I don't know whether that stuff that you wash your hair with, whether it stays, whether it is like dyeing your hair, or if you just wash your hair a lot, whether it's then lost again and it goes back to normal. So I don't know. But yeah, so that, where was the question? Oh yeah, so yeah, the couple of answers is that in some of the videos my hair was literally black. In other videos my hair was probably like a bit like this, but the camera makes it look a lot darker because it doesn't pick up the different tones that are going on, if that's what you call them. So and yeah, it wasn't a different light, I don't think, but actually it depends, because when I first started doing videos in this room, the lights were a bit weird, and I had to get different lights and make sure that they were the right kind to then look more natural with the lighting, and hopefully it's relatively close. Nobody's complained thus far about the lighting in this particular room, so yeah, hopefully it's all right, and I'm just going to keep things as they are. But thank you for that, and Karen's donated $5 as well. And Angela says the colour shampoo is not a permanent colour, it washes out gradually. So maybe that's why, because I'm thinking that if I had to grow all of my hair out again to get rid of the colour, yeah, maybe that would take, like, how long does it take to get this long? I think it took me like maybe a year and a half. So yeah, it would take a very long time. So it's just obviously washed out. Right, so oh yeah, Cindy said it was that camera that you had to put your hand in front of to reset. Yeah, so that was the problem, that it would sometimes be so dark that I had to put my hand in front of the camera and then it would readjust. But I think even still, it's still quite dark even when it readjusted itself. Yeah, but anyway, Karen says, Phil, thank goodness you weren't hurt while sleepwalking. Have you heard of out-of-body experiences? Thanks for all you do and for being you. Cheers, Karen. So, out-of-body experiences, yeah, I've heard of those. And, not only out-of-body experiences, but those that happen when people have kind of died for a certain amount of time. And I say died because they then come back to life, and then they say, oh, you won't believe what happened. I went to this place, or I went to that place, and I saw this and I saw that. So yeah, I mean, it's very difficult, because with those stories that people give of kind of life after death, and them having died and then having that experience, it's difficult, because when you die, you've still got oxygen in your blood, which means that to a certain extent your brain is still going to be active. It's still got oxygen. It's like if you're holding your breath, for example. If you're holding your breath, if you get really good at it, it means that you can hold it from like 3 minutes to 5 minutes to maybe 6 minutes to sometimes even longer than that, which means that there's enough oxygen in your system to keep things going along. And yeah, so this is why I think potentially anything that somebody might be imagining could be the brain still having oxygen and going into that state of now imagining things. But there have been stories where the people who have come back have explained things about things that were said. But then again, if your brain's still working, it means that your ears might still be working, and therefore you're going to be hearing what's going on in the room. So you would be able to say what people were saying because you're still taking it in on that subconscious level. So yeah, really complicated stuff. But I'm sure there's a story where somebody said that they saw something in the room, and what they saw did actually happen, even though they were supposed to be dead. I don't know. It was on one of these weird series, but I'll have to look into that a little bit more. And this is the other thing. Not that I want to kind of get too sidetracked, but the other thing about understanding that you've got oxygen in your blood. So it means that even if your heart stops beating, it means that potentially things still might be going on, still might be working, and then you've got the whole thing that I saw something written on the internet about when people, had their heads chopped off. And I'm trying to think of the fancy word for that, but it's evading me at the moment. But anyway, so they've got their head chopped off, and then some people were saying that that the head might still blink or do things, and it's a bit not very nice to think of. But I think, well, rather when it's not very nice to think of, I now start thinking about well, would it be technically possible for the head to have enough, if it landed upside down, to have enough blood in it and enough oxygen to then still be functional? Would it would that still work? So anyway, not that you can. Karen says decapitate. No, it's that is what happens, but it's the very process of this happening to somebody with the guillotine. I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, decapitated isn't the word that I'm looking for. It's yeah, I don't know what I'm looking for, but I just know it isn't that. But anyway, so I was thinking, right, if it landed upside down, obviously there's no way that you can test this unless somebody wants to make the ultimate sacrifice. But because this is what the person was saying, was that they apparently they had tested it, and they saw that there was some still some signs of understanding, or whatever the person was doing, asking them questions or something, or asking them to blink their eyes twice, or I don't know what they did. But anyway, yeah, let's move on from that. But it might be beheading. Yeah, I think maybe beheaded is what my brain was trying to come up with, because the being beheaded by a guillotine, because the guillotine was the thing. So anyway, yeah, but this is it, that for people that think, oh, of course that's stupid, saying that anyone can still have any conscious thoughts going on if your head's been chopped off. But I think, well, thinking about the science of it, you think, well, there's a chance, if you can hold your breath and there's nothing going in, and you're still being able to understand stuff. And people that have had a spinal cord injury from the neck down, that it doesn't mean that they're now dead. That they're still thinking, that they've still got everything above the point of injury. So if the point of injury is severed here, yeah. Anyway, that's talk about a random topic for the live stream, but that's something for somebody a lot more qualified than myself to talk about, like the theoretical chance of it happening or not happening, or being possible. So anyway, yeah, we will. Malteser said there will be no pain because there's no pain sensors. So yeah, I mean, it'd just be I suppose that'd be a bit weird, that if you are still aware that you can now see that you're in a whatever they catch you in, a straw bucket or something. I don't know what they use, but yeah, they did catch their heads in something. Anyway, right, moving on. Oh, it's midnight. It's already gone midnight. So and we're looking for 2 more likes. If you could hit the thumbs up, that would be very much appreciated, to then ensure that we have a fill jam. And it's going to be fill jam number 274. Let's end the vote for tonight's cover video, which is going to be what looks like Carry On Wayward Son. Yeah, with 60% of the vote. So, Melody Rock says, are we going to have a Halloween live stream? Again, I don't know. I'll have to look at exactly when. Let me click on this. The calendar doesn't actually give me the calendar. Let me see if I can do this. I've just obliterated the likeometer because I've just opened the calendar. But Halloween's the 31st, which is a Friday night. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe? I don't know. Should we sacrifice a Saturday night live stream to have a Halloween live stream on Friday night? I mean, maybe that's something that... Maybe I'll throw that out there to you guys. Maybe we can move the Saturday live stream to a Friday. And yeah, that can maybe be the Halloween. Or we can just do it the next evening. Yeah, maybe... Yeah, we'll figure it out. We've still got, a couple of weeks to go. Right, yeah, let's jump into this, my version of Carry On Wayward Son. Hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll see you after I rock. Okay, Carry On My Wayward Son by Kansas. Let's do this. Rock. Carry on my wayward son, there'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest, don't you cry no more. As I rose above the noise and confusion, just to get a glimpse beyond this illusion, I was soaring ever higher, but I flew too high. Though my eyes could see, I still was a blind man. Though my mind could think, I still was a madman. I hear the voices when I'm dreaming, I can hear them say, carry on my wayward son, there'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest, don't you cry no more. Oh no. Masquerading as a man with a reason, my charade was the event of the season. If I claim to be a wise man, it surely means that I don't know. On a stormy sea of moving emotions, tossed around I'm like a ship on the ocean. I set the course for winds of fortune, but I hear the voices say, carry on my wayward son, there'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest, don't you cry no more. Carry on, you will always remember. Carry on, nothing equals a splendor. Now your life's no longer empty, surely heaven waits for you. Carry on my wayward son, there'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest, don't you cry no more. And there we have it. That was my version of Carry On Wayward Son. Hope you guys enjoyed that one, and thank you for voting for that as tonight's cover video, and for you guys suggesting it over on Patreon as well. Now we do have a picture in picture corner that we're going to take a look at, and then we are, I should have got out the guitar before really, but we're going to be then having a Phil Jam because we have hit the target of 420 likes. So now let me find where I need to be with getting this screen capture going. Where is it? Oh, that's lucky. It did actually move. So let me try and get it centralized. And here we go. So here's Karen, and the message is, I'm wearing my new Wings of Pegasus hoodie. It's very comfortable, warm, and looks great. So thank you for sending that in, and Laura for linking me to it as well. And oh, this is another kind of annoying thing. Over on the old store, which was spring.com, because I've then moved everything over to Dashery now, the previous store, I had, I don't know, maybe £600 or £700 worth of merchandise that had been sold over, I don't know how long. But because I wanted to draw a line under everything, I then went to withdraw that amount of money, and they say, oh, all withdrawals are made on the 21st of each month. And I did that at the beginning of last month. So then I was waiting for the 21st. And I checked my statements on the 21st, nothing had come through. 22nd, nothing. 23rd, nothing. 24th, nothing. Anyway, I still haven't received anything. So, yeah, it seems like I don't know what's going to happen to that money that, yeah, it is mine. Yeah, I'm going to have to try and chase it up. But it's just annoying that, yeah, nothing has happened from that. And I don't know whether it's the case of them as a company, because they were just, taking like 6 months to deliver things, and then they were out of stock of stuff, whether they as a company have now decided, oh, no, we're not going to give everybody their money for whatever reason. Maybe they just want to keep it for themselves. So, yeah, we'll see. So that's all a bit frustrating, the whole spring.com thing, because I don't really have time to be spending on things like that, trying to chase up money that is mine. But it looks like I'm going to have to try and do that if nothing happens soon. But, I mean, the good thing is the Dashery store is up and running, and you can see the items in the tray underneath this video. And, yeah, they deliver very quickly. And as you can see from Karen's picture, they have some high quality items that, yeah, they're just very, very efficient as a company, which is great. But anyway, we will be jumping into the Phil Jam. I did turn on the microphone as well, so maybe you're hearing double my voice. We will see if this registers. And just quickly, Cindy donated $10 and said, if we have a Halloween live stream, will you wear a costume? That may make a difference to people. So probably not. Before I've worn a mask, but yeah, having the mask on for the whole live stream is a bit of a pain because it's very difficult to talk in. So yeah, I'm not really. I don't think I've dressed up before for the Halloween live stream. I tend to just do it the way that I do it and just have the Halloween stuff on the screen that I set up. So Angela's donated $20 as well. Thank you for that. The message is great cover for a future chocolate, orange, or whatever you like, Angela. So thank you for that. Right, now let's jump over to the message. I lost where the mouse was.
Yes, come here. I'll let you know.
Let's mute this. Oh, this is weird. Okay, so it's an advert, but for some reason it's all displaying a bit weird. Or a bit weirdly. So I can see what it is. It's I Fall Apart Jam Classic Rory style 70s backing track, and then in brackets G minor, and this is from Now You Shred Backing Tracks, and the U is in capital letters. So let me see if I can hear this. And yep, we'll zoom out. There he is. Now I can hear my voice doubling. Can you hear this? And there we have it. Another advert's coming in. So that was it. We had the audience getting involved there, or the crowd, so we could hear that it was going to finish. Let me turn off this mic so I don't get this repeating. So that was the other thing, and I don't know whether you would have been able to hear it or not, but with the bend that I did, I rolled off the volume. So if it was being played really loudly, like, you know, in a huge venue, nobody would hear the strings, and that's why you mute or you turn the volume down on your guitar. But because I'm so close to this mic, I don't know whether you would have been able to hear the strings and the inevitable strings that you hit as you're finishing the bend, and that's why you kind of mute it on the guitar. So hopefully you didn't hear that, because it kind of goes clang like that, but that's why you turn down your volume. But yeah, anyway, that was I Fall Apart, jam classic Rory style 70s backing track, G minor in brackets, from Now You Shred backing tracks, and that's the U in capital letters, YOU. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. And Songs of Life donated $2 and says thanks, dude. So thank you for that. I'm going to be here with another video tomorrow night, so look out for that one. Live streaming Saturday night, of course. So look out for that. If you could join me then, that would be great as well, because we'll be going for another Phil Jam likes total, whatever it will be. I think maybe 415 on Saturday, something like that. So yeah, all that's left for me to say is try to stay as safe and as sane as possible in this crazy world in which we live. Have a fantastic rest of your week, and I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!